In this video, I am bringing you a new photorealistic AI image upscaler called Magnific AI. We will look at the workflow for boosting resolution and adding wild photorealism to Midjourney V6 images. Midjourney team has recently updated the V6 Alpha and released a new version. You will find a detailed look at the comparison between the new and old V6 Alpha versions and different stylized values. I will share everything about Magnific's new 16x upscale, including presets, prompt weights, visual comparison of different settings on Magnific, and how to alter any image into wild photorealism with creativity, resemblance, and fractality controls. At the end of the video, I will compare Magnific AI with Topaz Gigapixel from product and pricing perspective, so you can decide which tool would fit your workflow the best. Midjourney V6 is not yet in beta version, and Midjourney team is still making adjustments. For the latest release, they mentioned following changelog. Upscales are now 2x faster and use up 2x fewer GPU minutes. Aesthetics, coherence, prompt adherence, and image quality improved. Text rendering improved. You must put text inside quotations in your prompt. Performance at high stylized values improved in terms of image quality, aesthetics, text rendering, and prompt accuracy. Let's test these changes by comparing the same prompt with the previous V6 and the updated V6. To maintain consistency, I will use the product metrics from the first V6 video I made to evaluate performance of new update. I'm starting with natural language understanding challenge. I tested this prompt. In the previous version of V6, I was able to get the image on the left side, and that was best I could come close without applying additional weights to certain words. With the new version, I achieved image on the right after 2 reruns. After this, I decided to make the prompt more specific by mentioning wings of dragon, and I was able to get what I want. Then I decided to increase complexity. I threw my famous horse on top of the man challenge to the latest model. In the first run, I was able to get what I wanted, while in the previous model, it was not possible no matter how many times I tried without applying weight adjustments. In the next challenge, I used a prompt with crowded word clusters just to see how well model can connect them. I only ran the prompt once and used a very small value for the weird parameter. According to the Midjourney team, there was a bug with a weird parameter in version 6 since its launch, but they fixed it last week. Now, the results are more coherent and consistent, with the intended unconventional results appearing on the grid as expected with the weird command. But I would still recommend to use weird parameter together with stylized the balance weirdness and not overdoing it. In the next challenge, I wanted to test full body images because first version of the V6 had problem with always defaulting to portrait photography. It was extremely hard to get full body photos with accurate details and without non-deformed parts. With the new version, there is slight improvement, but it's still early to conclude that problem is fully solved. Success of full body images is still heavily dependent on the training data, and sometimes it doesn't work. Overall improvement score for natural language understanding of new V6 Alpha update, high. When it comes to photorealism, V6 was already mind-blowing, so I decided to test only one prompt. Overall, I've got similar results to previous V6 model and didn't realize a massive update. Therefore, my photorealism improvement score for new update is low. Accuracy of details, for example. Depiction of hands, images of people holding objects, guns, katanas, bows and arrows, umbrellas was heavily improved with V6. In fact, it was a massive jump in comparison to version 5. I'm surprised and I don't know what went wrong here with new version of V6 Alpha. I was getting much better results with this prompt in the previous V6 Alpha version without much rerun. With the new version though, I needed a lot of rerun to make accuracy of details correct. Here is another challenging prompt, one of my all-time favorites and a nightmare for generative AI art models: a volleyball match. This scene depicts moving players looking at each other with an audience in the picture. And if that's not enough, there are also front players jumping on top of a giant volleyball net, which is difficult to render accurately. And as you can see, I can ensure that struggle still continues with details. Another big challenge for generative AI image generators is planes. They're strange machines with lot of strange parts to render. Wings, tail, propellers, pilot, wheels, etc. And V6 continues to struggle with this challenge still. Overall improvement score for accuracy of details of new V6 Alpha update: low. This month, Midjourney team has made improvements to the Midjourney upscalers to make them faster. There are two types of upscalers used in Midjourney after the initial upscaling from the grid: Upscale Subtle and Upscale Creative. Upscale Subtle increases the size of Midjourney images by 1.5 times, while adding more details and clarity during the upscaling process. On the other hand, Upscale Creative also increases the size of images by 1.5 times, but it focuses more on hallucinating details, resulting in much more realistic textures on the skin and elements of the image. However, in comparison to Magnific AI, it is considered inferior. Applying Creative Upscale takes much longer than Subtle Upscale. During the first release of this feature, upscaling took significantly longer, but after recent changes in V6 Alpha, the performance has slightly improved. Creative Upscale has a potential if Midjourney team can catch up with Magnific AI's upscaling quality, which is going to be a massive challenge. Next item on the changelog for new Midjourney V6 is performance improvement for high stylized values. They stated that image quality, aesthetics, text rendering, and prompt accuracy must be improved for high stylized values. I have this prompt processed in both old V6 Alpha and new V6 Alpha with stylized 200. I realized new V6 Alpha is reflecting sci-fi outfit mentioned in the prompt much better. Stylize is one of the most important parameters in the Midjourney and often the most misunderstood. Stylize gets a value 0 to 1000 range, and it determines how much of default Midjourney aesthetics you want to apply to your images. Generally, you can expect for lower values mean images will stick closer to your prompt, while higher values let Midjourney add more its default artistic flair to your composition. As you can see, with the increasing stylized value, we are getting more artsy, dreamy compositions. We can get more surprise elements filling the image, and it can certainly generate photorealistic images, but it's not the main prio for Midjourney when stylized value is high. Style Raw, on the other hand, is simply stating that you don't want to apply any of default Midjourney aesthetics to your image. You want to rely fully on your keywords in your prompt for artistic direction. Magnific AI allows creators to remaster their Midjourney images by increasing its size. Actually, it's beyond upscaling. It's reimagining it by hallucinating details of your image and packing your image with a lot of details. The extent to which Magnific alters your original image is entirely up to you. You can choose to retain the original look or make significant changes. By the way, does anyone know why anime food looks always much more delicious? With Magnific AI, I've been transforming AI-generated images from Stable Diffusion, DALL-E, and Midjourney into extraordinary creations otherwise impossible. My workflow looks like this. First, I generated this image using Midjourney. Then I'm uploading my image to Magnific AI. With recent updates, tool now can upscale an image up to 16x with a maximum limit of 10K resolution limit, roughly equals to 10,000 to 10,000 pixels. Next step is selecting my preset. These presets help Magnific to optimize your image for certain aesthetic types like portraits, art and illustrations, nature and landscapes, films and photography, etc. If you're not sure which one to choose, you can leave it as standard. For cinematic images, I'm choosing film and photography. Next step is copy-pasting the same prompt I used in Midjourney to Magnific. Here, don't forget to delete Midjourney parameters from your prompt. With additional weight settings available on Magnific, you can assign more weights to certain keywords in your prompt. To boost realism, a Midjourney prompt can be transformed into this Magnific prompt. Notice how I added some additional keywords to my original prompt to increase realism and bumped up their weight using brackets and numbers. And here is the result. Look at these incredible details after 8x upscaling. Of course, it's not perfect, but still really promising. By this method, you can create entire islands or maps in one image. Now let's take a look at the details of other settings. Creativity is the setting which we decide how strongly we will let AI to hallucinate all the necessary details. Here you can see a comparison of minimum and maximum and some middle values for the same image without changing other settings. Next, increasing resemblance setting makes the creation look more like the original image, but too high can cause blotchy or messy results. Lowering it allows more creativity, but stays further from the original. Here you can see a comparison of minimum and maximum values for the same image. Eventually, for boosting realism, you need to lower resemblance to minus values and increase creativity to higher values, allowing Magnific to hallucinate details. In combination with prompt weights, this method can create wonders. After last week's update, Magnific added a new setting to Editor. It's called Fractality. Basically, it allows you to control the strength of your prompt and intricacy per square pixel. The things you can do with this are insane. You can get an aerial photo created by Midjourney from a fantasy universe. And with Fractality, you can super enhance a lot of intricate details. One of my observations is Magnific AI has a bias, and it tends to age faces while adding realistic details. To overcome this, you can specify the age of your subject in the Magnific prompt and use extra weights emphasizing age of your subject. For example, and few more tips. If you want to reuse one of the upscaled image, you can easily do that by clicking here and selecting Reuse Upscaled Image option. You can also reuse your settings from one of your earlier upscales. Not everything is positive for Magnific AI, of course. There is still room for improvement. The biggest downside of the tool is its price. There is no free trial available due to limitations with GPUs. But not having free trials will turn some people off from the tool. Just to compare, Topaz Gigapixel AI is one-time payment of $99, whereas Magnific AI's starting level package costs $39 per month. Of course, Magnific AI is a much more capable upscaler than Topaz Gigapixel, but still this price range is a significant investment for many people. Generally, amount of details you get while upscaling with Magnific is wild, and it feels like if Topaz wants to stay in the game, they need to catch up with innovating. On the other hand, Topaz has bulk upscaler, a very important feature for my workflow. Magnific doesn't offer that for now. And you have full control of output format with Topaz, JPEG, PNG or more, whereas Magnific does not offer that. That's why I use Topaz more often in my workflow, especially for bulk upscaling. But for certain selected images, I go to Magnific for upscaling because Topaz can't give me the realism I'm looking for.